Welcome to Dark Secrets Uncovered, the podcast where we dive into the shadows of the world's most haunting mysteries. I'm your host, and today, we're stepping into one of the most perplexing and heart-wrenching cases of our time, the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. A 3-year-old British girl, vanished without a trace from a sunny resort in Portugal. A case that gripped the world, sparked endless theories, and remains unsolved to this day. So, settle in, turn down the lights, and let's unravel the mystery that's haunted millions for nearly 2 decades. Picture this, it's May 2007. The Algarve coast of Portugal is basking in the early summer sun. Praia da Luz, a sleepy beach town, is alive with tourists. Families stroll along the golden sands, kids splash in the waves, and the air hums with the carefree vibe of vacation. It's the kind of place where worries melt away, where you let your guard down, where nothing bad is supposed to happen. But on the night of May 3rd, in a quiet apartment at the Ocean Club Resort, something unthinkable did happen. A little girl named Madeleine McCann went to bed and was never seen again. Madeleine was just 3 years old. A bright, blonde-haired girl with big, curious eyes and a smile that could light up a room. She was the apple of her parents' eye, the center of their world. Kate and Gerry McCann, both doctors from Leicester, England, had brought Madeleine and her 2-year-old twin siblings, Sean and Amelie, for a week-long getaway. They were joined by a group of close friends, a tight-knit crew of professionals who'd planned this trip as a chance to unwind, laugh, and make memories. The Ocean Club was perfect, upscale, family-friendly, with a pool, tennis courts, and a tapas restaurant just steps from their apartments. It felt safe. It felt like paradise. But paradise has a way of hiding its shadows. On that fateful evening, the McCanns and their friends followed a routine they'd settled into over the week. They tucked their kids into bed, left them sleeping in their apartments, and headed to the tapas restaurant, about 50 yards away. It wasn't far, just close enough to keep an eye on things. They took turns checking on the kids every half hour, a system that had worked fine all week. Gerry checked on Madeleine at 9:05 p.m. She was there, curled up in her pajamas, her favorite cuddle toy by her side. Everything was calm. Everything was right. But by 10 p.m., when Kate went to check, the world turned upside down. The apartment was silent. The window was open. And Madeleine's bed was empty. Kate's scream shattered the night. "Madeleine's gone," she cried, her voice raw with panic. The group scrambled, searching the apartment, the grounds, the streets. Neighbors, staff, and strangers joined in, combing the resort under the glow of streetlights. But Madeleine was nowhere. It was as if the earth had swallowed her whole. Within hours, the quiet town of Praia da Luz was swarming with police, reporters, and flashing cameras. A missing child, a foreign tourist, a picture-perfect family. This wasn't just a local story. It was a global obsession. The disappearance of Madeleine McCann became a phenomenon. Front pages across the UK screamed her name. TV screens flashed her photo, those wide eyes, that innocent smile. The world fell in love with Madeleine, and they demanded answers. Who took her? Was she still alive? Was it a random predator, a planned abduction, or something even darker? The case exposed raw nerves about parenting, about safety, about trust. It pitted nations against each other, with British media slamming the Portuguese police, and Portuguese headlines firing back. It turned Kate and Gerry McCann into household names, heroes to some, villains to others. And through it all, one question burned: where is Madeleine? Here at Dark Secrets Uncovered, we're not here to point fingers or chase wild conspiracies. We're here to dig deep, to follow the facts, and to shine a light on the truth wherever it leads. Over the next few episodes, we'll walk you through every twist and turn of this case. We'll meet the family, the detectives, the suspects, and the strangers caught in the crossfire. We'll explore the theories. Was Madeleine kidnapped by a stranger? Did she wander off? Could someone closer to home know more than they're saying? We'll uncover the mistakes, the missteps, and the moments that might have changed everything. And we'll ask the questions that still keep us up at night. This isn't just a story about a missing girl. It's a story about hope, desperation, and the lengths we go to for the ones we love. It's about a case that stretched across continents, from the sunny shores of Portugal to the gritty streets of Europe's underworld. It's about a little girl who captured the world's heart in a mystery that refuses to let go. So, stick with us as we peel back the layers of the Madeleine McCann case. Because somewhere, in the shadows, the truth is waiting. It's April 2007, and Kate and Jerry McCann are packing for a much-needed break. They're a typical middle-class couple from Leicester, England, both in their late 30s, both doctors with demanding careers. Kate's a GP, Jerry's a cardiologist, and their lives revolve around their 3 kids, Madeleine, their eldest at 3, and the 2-year-old twins, Sean and Amelie. Madeleine is the spark of the family, blonde, bright-eyed, with a giggle that could melt anyone. She's curious, bold for her age, always asking questions, always trailing her parents with her favorite cuddle toy, a soft pink cat she calls Cuddle Cat. The McCanns are devoted parents, but like anyone, they're craving a moment to breathe. So, when the chance comes for a group vacation with friends, they jump at it. The destination is Praia da Luz, a postcard-perfect town on Portugal's Algarve coast. Think golden beaches, whitewashed villas, and a laid-back vibe that screams relaxation. The McCanns are traveling with a group of 7 friends, doctors, professionals, parents like them along with their kids. They call themselves the Tapas 7 after the restaurant they'd soon frequent. They book into the Ocean Club, an upscale resort with sprawling apartments, a pool, and tennis courts. It's marketed as family-friendly, a place where kids can play while parents unwind. The setup feels ideal, the adults can dine together, the kids can sleep nearby, and everyone's happy. But the Ocean Club has a flaw no one notices at first: its security is lax. Apartments face public streets, locks are basic, and the resort's open layout invites anyone to wander through. The group arrives on April 28, and the first few days are bliss. Mornings are spent at the beach, afternoons by the pool. Madeleine loves the kids' club, where she paints and plays with other toddlers. Kate and Jerry take turns playing tennis or jogging, savoring the rare chance to relax. Evenings follow a routine: the kids are bathed, read bedtime stories, and tucked in by 7 p.m. Then the adults head to the Tapas restaurant, a short walk from their apartments, just across the pool area. It's about 50 yards away, close enough to see the apartment doors, far enough to feel like a night out. The group agrees on a system: every 30 minutes, one parent checks on the sleeping kids. It's not foolproof, but it feels safe. After all, Praia da Luz is quiet, crime is rare, and the resort is full of families. What could go wrong? By May 3rd, the routine is second nature. That morning, Madeleine is her usual self, chatting away at breakfast, asking her mom if they can go swimming later. Kate notices her daughter seems extra clingy, maybe a touch tired, but she brushes it off. Kids have their moods. The day unfolds like the others: kids club, lunch, pool time. Madeleine naps in the afternoon, then plays until dinner. By 6 p.m., Kate and Jerry are getting the kids ready for bed. They eat a quick meal in the apartment: pasta, milk, some fruit. Madeleine is in her pink pajamas, clutching Cuddle Cat as Kate reads her a story. Jerry kisses her forehead, and by 7 p.m., all 3 kids are asleep in their room. Madeleine's bed is closest to the window, a single bed pushed against the wall. The twins are in travel cots nearby. The parents lock the front door but leave the patio door unlocked for easy access during checks. They close the bedroom door, dim the lights, and head to the Tapas restaurant. At the restaurant, the mood is light. The group of 9 adults shares wine, seafood, and stories. They're relaxed, laughing, enjoying the warm evening air. The checks begin as planned. At 8:30 p.m., one of the friends stops by the McCann's apartment 5A, ground floor, facing a small street. The kids are fine. At 9 p.m., Jerry takes his turn. He enters through the patio door, steps into the bedroom, and sees Madeline under her blanket, cuddle cat by her side. The twins are breathing softly. The window is closed, the shutters down. Everything is still. He uses the bathroom, adjusts the bedroom door to let in a sliver of light, and returns to the group by 9:10. He tells Kate all's well. They order another round of drinks. At 9:30, another friend offers to check but only looks in on his own kids, assuming the McCanns are fine. The minutes tick by. The group is engrossed in conversation, the restaurant buzzing with other diners. No one notices anything unusual, no strange faces, no odd noises. Praia da Luz feels like the safest place in the world. But in apartment 5A, something is about to change. At 10 p.m., Kate stands up to take her turn. She walks the familiar path across the pool area, the night air cool against her skin. She enters through the patio door, steps into the living room, and heads to the kids' bedroom. The door is slightly more open than Jerry left it, but she doesn't think much of it. She glances at the twins, still asleep in their cots. Then her eyes move to Madeline's bed. The blanket is flat. Cuddle cat is there, but Madeline is not. Kate's heart skips a beat. She checks under the bed, behind the curtains, in the wardrobe. Her voice trembles as she calls Madeline's name. Nothing. She notices the windowets open, the shutters raised. A breeze stirs the curtains. Panic surges through her. She runs to the living room, the bathroom, the kitchen, shouting for Madeline. The apartment is empty. Kate bolts back to the Tapas restaurant, her face pale, her breath ragged. Madeline's gone, she screams. Someone's taken her. The group freezes, then erupts into action. Jerry sprints to the apartment, the others follow. They search every corner, under furniture, in closets. The twins are still asleep, untouched. The resort staff are alerted, and soon, guests and locals join the frantic search. Someone calls the police. Kate is sobbing, clutching Cuddle Cat, her mind racing with images of her daughter. Jerry is shouting Madeline's name into the night, his voice breaking. The once quiet resort is now a chaotic blur of flashlight beams and desperate voices. By 10:30 p.m., the first police officers arrive, but they seem unprepared, almost casual. They take a quick look around, ask basic questions. The language barrier doesn't help. Kate and Jerry struggle to explain, their words tumbling over each other. More officers trickle in, but there's no urgency, no cordon around the apartment. Guests wander through, touching door handles, stepping on potential evidence. The McCanns beg for a proper search, 4 dogs, 4 helicopters. But Praia da Luz is a small town, its police force unequipped for a case like this. As the hours pass, the reality sinks in, Madeline is gone, and no one knows where to start looking. The McCanns cling to each other, surrounded by friends but utterly alone in their terror. Kate replays every moment of the day, wondering if she missed a sign, a stranger watching, a clue. Jerry paces, his mind spinning with questions. Was the window forced? Did someone know their routine? Was Madeline targeted? The resort, once a haven, now feels like a trap. The streets outside are dark, the beach endless, the possibilities infinite. And somewhere, their little girl, their Madeline is out there, in the hands of a stranger, or worse. The night stretches on, and with it, the beginning of a mystery that will consume the world. The clock is ticking in Praia da Luz, Portugal, on the night of May 3, 2007. Madeline McCann, a 3-year-old British girl, has vanished from her family's vacation apartment at the Ocean Club Resort. Her mother, Kate discovered the empty bed just after 10 p.m., the window open, the shutters raised. Her scream, "Madeline's gone," still echoes through the night as the McCanns, their friends, and a growing crowd of strangers search desperately. Flashlights sweep the dark streets, voices call Madeline's name, but there's no trace of her. The idyllic resort town is now a scene of chaos, and the first critical hours of the investigation are about to begin. But what unfolds next isn't a textbook manhunt, it's a cascade of missteps, confusion, and mounting tension that will haunt this case for years. The first police officers arrive around 10:30 p.m., summoned by a call from the resort staff. They're from the local Guardia Nacional Republicana, the GNR, not trained for major crimes. They're slow, almost casual, taking basic statements from Kate and Jerry McCann, who are frantic, their words spilling over in a mix of English and broken Portuguese. The officers glance around apartment 5A, noting the open window and Madeline's empty bed, but they don't seal the scene. No tape goes up, no barriers block the curious onlookers drifting in and out. Guests, staff, even neighbors trudge through the apartment, touching surfaces, opening doors. Every step risks contaminating evidence, fingerprints, fibers, DNA, but the officers seem oblivious. To them, this might just be a lost child, not a crime scene. Kate clutches Madeline's cuddle cat, her eyes darting to the window, begging for a proper search. Jerry, usually composed, is unraveling, demanding sniffer dogs, helicopters, anything. But Praia da Luz is a small coastal town, and its resources are thin. By 11 p.m., the Polícia Judiciária, Portugal's criminal investigation unit, takes over. They're based in Portimão, 30 minutes away, and their arrival is delayed by the drive. The lead investigator, Goncalo Amaral, isn't on the scene yet, leaving junior officers to handle the early chaos. They question the McCanns and their friends, the Tapas 7, piecing together the evening's timeline. Jerry explains his 9:05 p.m. check, how Madeline was asleep, the window closed. Kate recounts her 10 p.m. discovery, the open window, the flat blanket. The friends confirm their half-hourly checks, but there's a gap. Nobody checked between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. The police scribble notes, but their questions are basic, their demeanor detached. They don't call in forensic teams or set up roadblocks. The language barrier grows thicker, with no official translator on hand. Misunderstandings pile up, and the McCanns' desperation clashes with the officers' sluggish pace. Outside, the search is disorganized. Resort staff and locals comb the grounds, the beach, the nearby construction sites. Some check bins, others peer into hedges, but there's no strategy, no grid. The police don't coordinate the volunteers or instruct them to preserve evidence. A few officers knock on doors, asking neighbors if they saw anything: a man, a car, a child, but it's haphazard. One witness, a British tourist, mentions seeing a man carrying a child near the resort around 9:15 p.m., but the detail is buried in the chaos. Nobody sketches the suspect or circulates a description. The McCanns' friends fan out, shouting Madeline's name into the dark, their panic rising with every empty street. Kate and Jerry are back in the apartment, surrounded by police, yet feeling utterly alone. Kate's mind races. Was Madeline taken through the window? Did she wake up and wander off? Jerry stares at the open shutters, wondering if someone watched them all week, waiting for the perfect moment. By midnight, the media arrives. A British journalist, tipped off by a local contact, pulls up to the resort. Soon, more follow, reporters from Lisbon, London, even Spain. Cameras flash, microphones thrust toward anyone who'll talk. The McCanns, still in shock, avoid the press, but their friends give brief statements, pleading for Madeline's return. The story spreads like wildfire: a blonde, blue-eyed British girl, snatched from her bed on a family vacation. It's the kind of headline that sells papers and spikes ratings. By dawn, Madeline's face is on TV screens across Europe, her photo a bright smile from a recent family trip etched into the public's mind. The world is watching, and the pressure is on. But the investigation is already faltering. The Polizia Judiciaria finally seals apartment 5A, but it's too late. Dozens of people have traipsed through, smudging potential fingerprints, shedding hairs, muddying the scene. No forensic team arrives that night to dust for prints or collect DNA. The open window, a possible entry point, isn't examined for tool marks or fibers. The police don't seize the McCann's clothes or the twins' bedding for analysis. They don't canvass the town systematically or check CCTV from nearby businesses. There's barely any in Praia da Luz anyway. A sniffer dog is brought in briefly but finds no scent trail. The McCanns, desperate for action, suggest alerting border patrols or airports, but the police brush it off. Portugal's borders are open under EU rules, and a child could be whisked away in hours. As May 4th dawns, the case takes on a new dimension. British diplomats, alerted by the McCann's family, pressure Portuguese authorities for updates. The UK media, now flooding the Algarve, paints the police as incompetent, citing their slow response and lack of resources. Portuguese outlets fire back, accusing the British of arrogance, implying the McCann's check system was negligent. The narrative splits. To some, Kate and Jerry are grieving parents, victims of a predator. To others, they're careless, leaving their kids alone. The police, caught in the crossfire, lean into the easiest theory: Madeline wandered off. They search nearby fields and wells, but a 3-year-old in pajamas, walking alone at night, feels unlikely. Another theory emerges: abduction. The open window suggests someone entered, but there's no forced entry, no clear signs of a struggle. A third, darker idea simmers among the detectives: could the parents know more than they're saying? By the end of the first 24 hours, the police have little to show. No witnesses confirm the man with the child. No vehicles stand out. No ransom note arrives. The McCanns are questioned again, their story consistent but their anguish palpable. Kate, pale and trembling, keeps Cuddle Cat close, as if it's her last link to Madeline. Jerry, trying to hold it together, presses for more resources, more urgency. The Tapas 7 are grilled, their timelines dissected, but nothing glaring emerges. The police start to wonder about the group's drinking, the exact timing of checks, the layout of the apartment. Why was the window open? Why didn't the twins wake? The seeds of suspicion are planted, and the investigation is veering off course. The world beyond Praia da Luz is erupting. Madeline's name dominates headlines: Maddie missing, holiday horror. News channels loop her photo, pundits speculate wildly, and the public demands answers. The McCanns, still holed up in the resort, face an onslaught of reporters camped outside. They're not just parents anymore. Theory, the epicenter of a global frenzy. But inside apartment 5A, time feels frozen. Kate sits by Madeline's empty bed, replaying the moment she saw the flat blanket. Jerry stares at the horizon, willing his daughter to appear. The police, overwhelmed and under scrutiny, are digging in, but their missteps are piling up. And somewhere, Madeline, alive or not, is slipping further away. It's been days since Madeline McCann vanished from her family's apartment in Praia da Luz, Portugal, on May 3, 2007. The sleepy resort town is now a circus of flashing cameras, shouting reporters, and grim-faced police. The world is watching, demanding answers, but the investigation is stumbling, marred by a chaotic first response, a contaminated crime scene, and a growing rift between the Portuguese police and the British press. Kate and Jerry McCann, Madeline's parents, are trapped in a nightmare, their every move scrutinized. As the search for their 3-year-old daughter intensifies, the Polizia Judiciaria digs deeper, chasing leads, suspects, and theories. But what they uncover only thickens the fog of suspicion, pulling the case into darker, more divisive territory. The police are under immense pressure. The media, especially from the UK, hammers them for their slow start. No sealed crime scene, no immediate forensics, no border alerts. Portuguese authorities, defensive and overwhelmed, shift focus to the most obvious question: who took Madeline? The open window in apartment 5A suggests an intruder, but there's no clear evidence of forced entry. The lack of fingerprints or tool marks on the shutters frustrates investigators. They start building theories: abduction by a stranger, a planned kidnapping, or more controversially someone closer to home. By mid-May, the investigation takes a sharp turn, and the McCanns find themselves in the crosshairs. The first major suspect isn't a shadowy predator but a local, Robert Murat, a 33-year-old British-Portuguese property consultant living just 100 yards from the Ocean Club. Murat catches the police's attention after inserting himself into the case. He offers to help as a translator, speaking fluent Portuguese and English, and lingers around the resort, asking questions, talking to reporters. To some, he's just a concerned neighbor; to others, his behavior seems off. A British journalist tips off the police, noting Murat's eagerness to be involved. Witnesses report seeing him near the resort the night Madeline disappeared, though he claims he was home with his mother. The police search his house, seizing computers and phones, but find no direct link to Madeline. Dogs sniff his property, divers check his garden. Nothing. By late May, Murat is named an arguido, an official suspect under Portuguese law, but the evidence is circumstantial, and the trail goes cold. He's never charged, but the media frenzy paints him as a villain, his life upended. Meanwhile, the abduction theory gains traction. Witnesses come forward with fleeting glimpses from that night. A key sighting, reported by an Irish family, describes a man carrying a child near the resort around 10 p.m., heading toward the beach. The child, dressed in pajamas, matches Madeline's description. The man is slim, dark-haired, maybe 30s, but the details are vague, the sketch generic. The police pursue this lead, releasing an artist's impression, but it's too broad to narrow down. Other sightings pour in: Madeline spotted in Morocco, Spain, even Brazil, but none pan out. The police consider a targeted kidnapping, possibly for ransom, yet no demand ever arrives. Another angle emerges: Portugal's Algarve, a tourist hub, is a known transit point for human trafficking. Could Madeline have been snatched by an organized ring? The idea is chilling, but there's no concrete evidence, only speculation. As summer unfolds, the investigation shifts dramatically. The Polícia Judiciária, led by Goncalo Amaral, begins to doubt the abduction narrative. They zero in on Kate and Jerry McCann. The couple's routine of leaving the kids alone during dinner raises eyebrows. Why didn't they use the resort's babysitting service? Why was the patio door unlocked? Small inconsistencies in their statements, timings of checks, the exact position of the bedroom door fuel suspicion. By July, the police are exploring a new theory: Madeline died in the apartment, accidentally or otherwise, and her parents covered it up. It's a bombshell idea, unthinkable to the millions following the case, but the police lean in. In August, British forensic experts bring in 2 sniffer dogs, one trained to detect blood, another for human remains. The dogs, Eddie and Keela, are led through apartment 5A, now empty but preserved. Eddie, the cadaver dog, alerts in the living room, behind the sofa, and in the parents' bedroom near a wardrobe. Keela, the blood dog, signals in the same living room spot. The dogs also react to a rental car the McCanns used weeks later, a Renault Scenic, with Eddie alerting to the trunk and Keela to the driver's side. The police are electrified. These hits suggest Madeline may have died in the apartment. Forensic samples are sent to a UK lab, revealing traces of DNA in the apartment and car. But the results are inconclusive, a mix of profiles that could belong to Madeline, her family, or even unrelated individuals. Dog alerts, while compelling, aren't admissible evidence without corroboration. Still, the police are convinced, the McCanns are hiding something. On September 7, 2007, the case explodes. Kate and Jerry are named arguidos, official suspects, and interrogated separately for hours. Kate is grilled relentlessly, accused of disposing of Madeline's body. Detectives present the dog alerts, the DNA traces, and claim she confessed to friends about an accident. Kate, exhausted and distraught, refuses to answer most questions, clutching Cuddle Cat, her daughter's toy, like a lifeline. Jerry faces similar accusations, his calm demeanor now a liability police interpret it as coldness. Both deny any involvement, insisting Madeline was taken. The interrogations yield no confession, no charges, but the damage is done. The media erupts, splashing headlines, McCann suspects in Maddie's death. The public splits, some see grieving parents, others see guilt. The McCanns fight back. They hire top lawyers, launch a PR campaign, and stick to their story: an intruder took Madeline. They point to the open window, the lack of forced entry explained by the unlocked patio door. Friends rally around them, insisting the couple adored their kids. The Tapas 7 are re-questioned, their statements combed for cracks, but nothing solid emerges. The police's theory an accidental death, perhaps from a fall or overdose of medication, followed by a cover-up lacks a smoking gun. Where's the body? How did two doctors, in a foreign country, dispose of it under a media spotlight? The logistics strain belief, but the police, stung by criticism, double down. Other leads flicker and fade. A local man with a criminal record is questioned but cleared. Sightings of Madeline-like girls keep hope alive, but each is a dead end. The trafficking angle resurfaces, tied to Portugal's proximity to North Africa, but no evidence links Madeline to such a network. A wilder theory whispers of a high-level conspiracy, involving elites or officials, though it's pure rumor, fueled by the case's endless mysteries. By late 2007, the investigation is a mess, leads exhausted, suspects cleared or uncharged, and the McCanns vilified or pitted, depending on the headline. Kate and Jerry return to England in September, their twins in tow, but they're not free. The arguido status hangs over them, and the media hounds their every step. Kate, gaunt and hollow-eyed, clings to hope, keeping Madeline's room untouched. Jerry, more stoic, channels his energy into a campaign to find her. The police, meanwhile, are stuck. The dogs and DNA raised more questions than answers. Murat, once a prime suspect, fades from focus. The man with the child remains a ghost. And Madeline, the little girl at the heart of it all, is still gone, her fate a puzzle with too many missing pieces. The Madeline McCann case, now months deep in late 2007, is a global obsession, but no closer to resolution. 3-year-old Madeline vanished from her family's apartment in Praia da Luz, Portugal, on May 3, leaving behind a fractured investigation and a media storm. The Portuguese police, stung by criticism, have named Kate and Jerry McCann suspects, leaning on sniffer dog alerts and inconclusive DNA to suggest the parents hid their daughter's death. Meanwhile, leads like Robert Murat and a mystery man carrying a child have fizzled. The McCanns, back in England, are fighting to clear their names and find their daughter. As years pass, the search for Madeline becomes a marathon of hope, heartbreak, and new shadows, with the world still watching, waiting for a breakthrough. Kate and Jerry McCann refuse to let Madeline fade. In September 2007, they return to Leicester with their twins, Sean and Amelie, under a cloud of suspicion. The Arguido status Portugal's label for official suspects follows them, as does the press, camped outside their home, dissecting their every word. Kate, gaunt and clutching Madeline's Cuddle Cat, is a ghost of herself, haunted by the empty bed she found that night. Jerry, steely but strained, channels his energy into action. They launch the Find Madeline campaign, a fund to fuel the search, fueled by donations from strangers, friends, and celebrities like J.K. Rowling and David Beckham. Madeline's face, those wide eyes, that bright smile plasters billboards, newspapers, and TV screens worldwide. The campaign's website logs millions of hits, and tips flood in. Madeline spotted in Amsterdam, India, Australia. Each lead sparks hope, but each fizzles into disappointment. The McCanns don't trust the Portuguese police, whose investigation seems fixated on them. They hire private investigators, starting with Metodo 3, a Spanish firm with bold claims but questionable results. The detectives chase sightings and dig into trafficking networks, focusing on Morocco, where a blonde girl resembling Madeline was reportedly seen. Nothing pans out. The McCanns' legal team battles to lift their arguido status, arguing the evidence dog alerts, vague DNA's flimsy. In July 2008, Portugal's Attorney General agrees, closing the case due to insufficient evidence. Kate and Jerry are cleared, but the victory is hollow. The police release their files, thousands of pages detailing sightings, suspects, and dead ends, but no new clues emerge. Madeline is still gone, and the McCanns feel abandoned by the system. The case doesn't die. The British public, outraged by Portugal's handling, demands action. In 2011, after years of lobbying by the McCanns and pressure from UK media, the Metropolitan Police launch Operation Grange, a review of the case funded by the Home Office. Led by seasoned detectives, the team combs through 40,000 documents, re-interviews witnesses, and chases overlooked leads. They focus on the abduction theory, sidelining the idea of parental involvement. A key find, the 10 p.m. sighting of a man carrying a child, reported by the Irish family, gains new weight. Its detailed sketches are released in 2013, showing a dark-haired man, 20s to 40s, possibly the kidnapper. The public is riveted, but the man remains a phantom. Operation Grange also probes local criminals and resort workers, uncovering a string of burglaries in Praia da Luz around 2007. Could Madeline have been taken during a botched theft? The theory intrigues but lacks proof. The years grind on, and Madeline's absence is a constant ache. Kate and Jerry mark her birthdays 4, 5, 10, releasing age-progressed images of what she might look like. The twins, now growing up, ask about their sister, and the McCanns struggle to shield them from the media's glare. Kate publishes a book, Madeline, in 2011, a raw account of her grief and the search. It raises funds but reignites debate. Some praise her courage, others call her calculating. The press remains brutal, with tabloids recycling old suspicions or spinning wild theories. Madeline sold, hidden by gypsies, or tied to a secret elite. Online, forums and social media buzz with armchair detectives, some supportive, others vicious, accusing the McCanns of everything from negligence to murder. The family endures, but the toll is visible. Kate's eyes carry a permanent shadow, Jerry's voice cracks in rare unguarded moments. In 2020, a bombshell drops. German prosecutors announce a new suspect, Christian Bruckner, a 43-year-old drifter and convicted sex offender. Bruckner lived in the Algarve between 1995 and 2007, drifting between odd jobs and burglaries. His criminal record includes child sex crimes and break-ins near Praia da Luz. Police reveal he was in the area the night Madeline vanished, with phone records placing him near the Ocean Club around 7:30 p.m. German authorities, unusually candid, say they believe Madeline is dead and Bruckner is responsible, though they lack evidence to charge him. The McCanns, now in their 50s, are cautiously hopeful but guarded. They've been burned by false leads before. Operation Grange shifts focus to Bruckner, digging into his past, searching properties he frequented. Portuguese police, initially skeptical, join the probe, but tensions between agencies linger. Bruckner is a chilling fit. He's a loner, known for targeting holiday homes, stealing passports and cash. Witnesses describe him as charming but erratic, with a history of lurking around resorts. In 2019, he was convicted of raping a 72-year-old woman in Praia da Luz, just a mile from the Ocean Club, in 2005, 2 years before Madeline's disappearance. He's now in a German prison for that crime, but no direct evidence DNA, a witness, a trophy ties him to Madeline. Police search wells and gardens linked to his old haunts, but find nothing. The media, hungry for a villain, splashes his face everywhere, but Bruckner stays silent, neither confirming nor denying involvement. By 2025, he remains the prime suspect, but the case stalls, trapped in a limbo of strong suspicion and weak proof. The McCanns press on, their lives a balancing act of hope and grief. Kate still works as a doctor, Jerry as a consultant, but Madeline's absence defines them. They attend vigils, update the Find Madeline website, and thank supporters, though the donations have dwindled. The twins, now teenagers, navigate a world where their sister is a household name. Public opinion remains split. Many admire the McCanns' resilience, others cling to doubts, fed by years of tabloid innuendo. Operation Grange, scaled back but ongoing, costs millions, drawing criticism from those who see it as a lost cause. Yet for the McCanns, stopping isn't an option. They cling to the slimmest chance Madeline is alive, perhaps raised by another family, unaware of her past. The case's legacy is vast. It reshapes child safety laws, tightens resort security, and fuels debates about parenting and media ethics. It's a cautionary tale of how a bungled first response can derail justice. And it's a mirror, reflecting society's fear-soft predators, of vulnerability, of losing what matters most. For Kate and Jerry, every day is a fight to keep Madeline's name alive, to believe that somewhere, somehow, she's out there. But as the years stretch on, the trail grows colder, and the truth remains just out of reach. It's 2025, and the disappearance of Madeline McCann remains one of the world's most enduring mysteries. On May 3, 2007, the 3-year-old British girl vanished from her family's apartment in Praia da Luz, Portugal, sparking a global frenzy. The investigation stumbled from the start bungled crime scenes, clashing authorities, and a media storm that turned Kate and Jerry McCann into both victims and suspects. Theories of abduction, accident, and cover-up have swirled, with leads like Robert Murat and Christian Bruckner, the current prime suspect, fading into uncertainty. The McCanns' Find Madeline campaign and Operation Grange have kept hope alive, but 18 years later, the truth is still out of reach. As we close this series, let's reflect on where the case stands, what it's taught us, and the questions that linger like shadows. The Madeline McCann case is a puzzle with no final piece. As of April 2025, it remains open but unresolved. Christian Bruckner, the German drifter named a suspect in 2020, is still the focus. His rap sheet burglaries, sex crimes, and a 2005 rape in Praia da Luz makes him a compelling fit. Phone records place him near the Ocean Club the night Madeline vanished, and his history of targeting holiday homes aligns with the open window in apartment 5A. German prosecutors believe he killed her, but they lack the evidence to charge him. No DNA, no witness, no confession ties Bruckner to Madeline. He sits in a German prison for other crimes, silent on the case, while investigators dig through his past, searching old haunts and interviewing associates. Portuguese and British police, once at odds, now share leads, but progress is glacial. Operation Grange, the UK's multi-million-pound probe, continues with a skeleton crew, chasing tips that rarely pan out. For Kate and Jerry, Bruckner is a flicker of hope, but they've learned not to trust breakthroughs. Too many have crumbled before. The McCanns, now in their late 50s, live in a strange limbo. They're still doctors, still parents to Sean and Amelie, now 20, but Madeline's absence is a wound that never heals. Kate keeps her daughter's room untouched, a shrine of pink bedding and stuffed toys. She carries Cuddle Cat, faded from years of clutching, a tether to the little girl she lost. Jerry, ever the planner, manages the Find Madeline Fund, though donations have slowed. They mark Madeline's birthday to be 21 now with quiet vigils, releasing balloons and age-progressed images. The twins, Raised in their sister's shadow, navigate university and young adulthood, their lives shaped by a loss they barely remember. The family avoids the spotlight but issues periodic statements, thanking supporters and pleading for tips. They cling to the possibility Madeline is alive, perhaps raised by another family, unaware of her identity. It's a long shot, but it's what keeps them going. The case's impact ripples far beyond Praia da Luz. It's a cultural touchstone, a story that reshaped how we think about safety, parenting, and justice. The McCanns' decision to leave their kids alone during dinner sparked fierce debate. Some call it neglect, others a tragic misjudgment in a seemingly safe resort. The ocean clubs lack security, unlocked doors, public-facing apartments became a cautionary tale, prompting tighter rules at resorts worldwide. Child safety campaigns, inspired by Madeline's face, pushed for better monitoring and faster police response. The case also exposed the media's double edge. It amplified the search but turned the McCanns' grief into a spectacle. Tabloids hounded them, printing baseless claims Madeline sold, hidden, or killed by her parents. Social media, later, fanned conspiracies, from trafficking rings to elite cover-ups, most rooted in imagination, not evidence. The McCanns endured it all, their resilience a testament to their love for Madeline. The investigation's failures are a masterclass in what not to do. The Portuguese police's first horse-no-sealed crime scene, no forensics, no coordinated search set a disastrous tone. The language barrier, with no translator for the McCanns, bred mistrust. Naming the parents as suspects, based on shaky dog alerts and vague DNA, alienated them and skewed the probe. The clash between British and Portuguese authorities, fueled by media sniping, wasted time and resources. Operation Grange, launched in 2011, was thorough but late, chasing leads that might have been fresher in 2007. The case shows how critical those first moments are. Secure the scene, collect evidence, act fast or risk losing the trail forever. It's a lesson etched into policing manuals, but for Madeline, it came too late. What happened to Madeline McCann? The theories persist, each with its holes. Abduction by a stranger, like Bruckner, fits the open window and his criminal profile, but where's the proof? Human trafficking, given Portugal's proximity to North Africa, is plausible but unconfirmed. No network has been linked. An accident in the apartment, a fall, a medication error explains the dog alerts but not the missing body or the McCanns' behavior under scrutiny. A cover-up by someone close feels far-fetched. Kate and Jerry's anguish, their relentless campaign, defies the cold calculation that would require. Less likely are the wild tales, political conspiracies, secret societies born from frustration with the case's opacity. The truth, if it exists, is buried in the gaps, a missed witness, an unexamined clue, a silent suspect. For the McCanns, closure is a distant dream. Kate still walks Praia da Luz in her mind, retracing that night, wondering if she locked the door, if she missed a stranger's glance. Jerry pores over case files, hoping for a detail they've overlooked. They know Madeline is likely gone, but they can't stop searching, not while a sliver of hope remains. The public, too, is hooked, drawn to the case's mix of tragedy and mystery. It's a story that demands an ending, but reality doesn't always oblige. Madeline's face, frozen at 3 years old, is a reminder of what's at stake. Not just a girl, but a family, a community, a world left wondering. The Madeline McCann case is more than a mystery, it's a mirror. It shows our fear of losing what we love, our hunger for answers, our quickness to judge. It's a story of love and loss, of mistakes and redemption, of a little girl who captured the world's heart and never let go. Somewhere, in the silence of Praia da Luz or the shadows of a distant place, the truth waits. Until it's found, we hold on to Madeline not just as a name, but as a promise to keep searching, to keep asking, to keep her light alive. And so, the Madeline McCann case leaves us here in the quiet, with more questions than answers. What do you think happened to Madeline? Was it a stranger like Christian Bruckner, a tragic accident, or something we haven't even considered? How do you feel about the McCann's choices, the police's missteps, or the media's role in this saga? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Want to hear your theories, your reactions, your take on this haunting mystery. If this story gripped you as much as it did us, hit that like button, share this episode with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Dark Secrets Uncovered for more deep dives into the cases that keep us up at night. Your support keeps us digging for the truth. Until next time, stay curious, and keep searching for the light in the darkness.